ज्ञानाञ्जन चक्षुरुन्मिलितं तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपं कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवां च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगना ललितान् श्रीविशाखान्वितान् च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गे राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वञ्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Thank you, devotees, joining this morning for some discussions on chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And today, what we are going to discuss is what I have heard from devotees, and being the last many years. Of course, chanting, everybody, and especially me, we are still struggling, but this is as a service to all of devotees here. And thanks to His Grace, Sri Gaur Prabhu. Just now we celebrated Sri Ram Navami, the appearance of our dear Prabhu Ramchandraji. And this is when Hanumanji and all the Vanaras, were on this mission to search Sita Mata. And then just before leaving, it's a Vedic culture that all the devotees actually are people take the blessings of the elders, Lord, parents, before they are on mission. So similarly, all the Vanaras, they were taking blessings from our dear Lord Prabhu Ramchandraji. However, Hanumanji was not seen in the frame. And when all the Vanaras, they have taken the blessing, they met Lord Ram. And finally, Hanumanji comes and then he offer obeisances to Lord Ram. And then he asked, so Ram asked, what do you want? And Hanuman did not say anything. He said, I just want your name. So then means like the blessing in the form of his name, Lord Ram, the name Ram. And what he got from Lord Ram is the name. And we know Abhinnato Nama Namino, Lord and Lord's name are not different. And that is from that day onwards, the name Lord, the Lord's names became the property of Hanuman. So if we have to chant the name of Lord Ram, we have to take a permission from Hanumanji. And later we know that how Hanumanji was on a mission to search Sita Mata, and he was successful because he had a blessings of the name Lord Ram. And we know also from Raman that he was able to build the bridge across the ocean is just because of the name Ram that he was writing on the stone. So the name and the person is not different because it's the Supreme Lord. For in our case, it is a different. But however, for the Supreme Lord, it is not a different. So in ISKCON, we always emphasize on chanting because I see from Hanumanji's example that everything begins from the chanting. Because Srila Prabhupada said that chanting is the cornerstone of all our spiritual practices. If our chanting is good, everything else will fall in place. Just like in mathematics, if we are solving a sum, and if the first step is right, you have good chance that the rest of the things will be things. However, if your first step is wrong, and then definitely our results will be not good at the end. Similarly, if our foundation, which is chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, if we get this first and most important step right, then everything in our spiritual life will be mangalam, auspicious. And that is why our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada would always say that our journey depends on 99% is on the spiritual practices like chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And if we take one step towards that chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, in a very deep way, in a profound way, our journey becomes very joyful. It becomes very wonderful rather than becoming a burden, rather than becoming a difficult challenge for all of us. Jiva Goswami in Bhakti Sandarbha, he asked question, what is the most important thing in Krishna consciousness? And for all of us, the same question that if we are in dhoti kurta and tilak that we put on our forehead, and suddenly some journalist comes and then reporter comes and he asked, what do you think? What is the most important thing that in Krishna consciousness and ISKCON? So, what will be our answer, devotees? What will be our answer here? You may type here. And yeah, I see Sadhu Sevan Prabhu say, yes, yesterday was Hanuman Jayanti also. So taking the blessings of Hanumanji for our journey. Thank you, Prabhu. So what will be the answer to our question that what is the most important thing in Krishna consciousness? Chanting. Navendu Prabhu is in chanting and service. Any other thought? Krishna Prema, association. Okay. So you want to know what chanting, Hare Krishna people chanting, Hare Krishna, Sadhu Sevan Prabhu. Okay. So most important thing what Jiva Goswami answered, do you want to know that? And what he says is that the most important thing is absorption in Krishna. Because uh, he says that the mind should be totally absorbed in Krishna. And we know from Padma Purana, Smartavyam Satatam Vishnu, or Vismartavyam na Jatuchit, Sarve Vidhi Nishedas Suyur Yetayor Eva Kinkaram. All the other rules and regulations are just a servant, Kinkaram, of what? Smartavyam Satatam Vishnu. We should always remember Vishnu. Vismartavyam na Jatuchit. Never forget Vishnu. So now how do we come to this Martavyam Satatam Vishnu? That will happen when we are actually doing chanting things, because Sravanam, Kirtanam and Vishnu Smaranam. So chanting is the foundation that, because when we start chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then we will able to speak about Krishna, glorify Krishna, Kirtana. And once we do Kirtana, automatically the next step becomes Smartavyam. We are able to absorb in Krishna's name, Krishna as such. So we know that Chaitanya Charitamrita, that we compare Krishna with the sun, and illusion opposite to that is a darkness. Krishna Surya Sama Maya hai Andakar, Yaha Krishna Taha Nahi Maya ra Adhikar. So wherever there is a Krishna, there is no possibility of darkness. Darkness means it's just absence of Krishna. So the light of Krishna, the sun of Krishna that we will illuminate in our heart, and that then the extent that our heart is illuminated, to the extent that we'll be able to absorb our mind in Krishna. Now the question may come that how can the sun of Krishna may rise in our heart? How can we absorb? Because when Krishna arises, when we absorb in our mind totally, then we understand that Krishna can arise in our heart. And Krishna, once Krishna arises in our heart, then we can understand that we are coming closer to Krishna. We don't have to find the answer outside. We know that are we absorbing while chanting the name of Lord Sri Krishna. And we know the example that we have in front of us, because we are follower of Gaudiya Sampradaya, and gopis are the exemplary for all of us. They are ready to do anything for Krishna. In our case, it is all about me. We are only thinking about our happiness. And so now we have pendulum or the extremes. One is our own case, and another is the gopis, where they have completely dedicated themselves for the service of Lord Sri Krishna. Now, from our situation where our center is only we, my happiness, if we open just Hanumanji, if Hanumanji opened his heart, and what we saw was dear Prabhu Ramchandraji and Sita Mata, whereas if I open core of my heart, I could see it's only all about my, I, me, mine. So now, how can we move from wherever we are in our journey to coming to the situation of gopis, where we are completely absorbed in the name of Krishna or in the service of Krishna? So the first thing that is connecting with Krishna. Somehow we have to connect the situation that we are to the to Lord Sri Krishna. That is the preliminary things that we can do that. And the example of that could be whatever we have that we offer to Krishna. And long back, 2012, 2013, one very wonderful devotee came from Vrindavan, and was giving a class. She was giving a class in AECS layout. And I first time I heard, and I was very surprised from Mataji. And she's very senior devotee, very senior, very exemplary devotee. And I still remember that she told that whenever she get a soap, bathing soap, the first thing that she does, she offer to Krishna. And she doesn't need to do that actually, but because this is connecting with Krishna, every situation that we have, everything that we have, we connect Krishna. So here is like that, okay, Krishna, I am offering this soap. Krishna doesn't need a soap from us. Krishna doesn't need anything from us. He's Atmaram. He's a self-satisfied. He doesn't need things. But that act of offering to Krishna what we have actually help us connecting to Lord Sri Krishna. And if we start doing even small things that we have in our life, the circumstances, the situation, the things that we have connecting to Krishna, spend time with Krishna, and that's it. That one day we will actually move towards the mood of gopis. And then that is the end of the spectrum where we can offer everything to Krishna and Krishna's happiness. And Krishna's happiness is everything for us. So right now, our situation that it is only my happiness. So the first thing that what we discussed is about connecting with the Krishna. Any situation that we have, any circumstances that we have, how can I connect with Krishna? And we can do anything. For example, some devotees, I mean, in Vedic culture and even in India, that we see that somebody is getting married. The first thing what they will do, they will print their marriage invitation card, and they go to Lord and offer to Lord. Well, that's culture, because that is how we connect to Krishna. Today, what we have in our heart is all about me. How can I get happiness of anything? The core of our activities, the core of our thought, our deed, our action is the center is I. And from that, at least to begin with, that connecting with Krishna. And the second step that we can in this direction is rise to the next level where contemplating about Krishna. What does Krishna want from me? What can I do to make Krishna happy? The question has to be asked very sincerely to our core of our heart. The question is that what can I do to please my dear Lord Sri Krishna, or how can I make Krishna happy? Now let's ask this question to ourselves. What do we feel when we ask ourselves this question? What can I do to make Krishna happy, or what will make Krishna happy? So this is the question that if we ask, what do you think, devotees? What would happen? So here the answer is not important. Now, when you ask this question, what is the feeling that is arising in your heart? What are you feeling when you ask ourselves this question? What can I do to make Krishna happy, or what makes Krishna happy? Devotees, what do you think that when you ask this question?
We kind of always think about Krishna.
So very good. So we immediately our consciousness from our the self-centric to become Krishna-centric just by question. So this question is not this. It's more than the answer. The question itself is so important. Thank you, bro. Anybody else can type here that what happens if we just ask this question? What can I do to make our dear Lord Sri Krishna happy? We need to follow his instruction. The answer is not important. I'm just asking that the question. So if we just ask question at this point of time, oh my dear Lord, what can I do to make you happy? What can I do to please you? Just by that question, what is happening in our thought process? What is happening in your consciousness? What is happening in our feeling? Again, the answer is not Shakti Prabhu. The answer is not important. What is that feeling that we are having right away when we just ask this question? We feel joy in service. Okay. We connect with Krishna. Absolutely. Feeling, okay, Navinda, about his glories. We feel happy. the most important that is written that we connect with Krishna, and that is the whole purpose of this question, is that because when we are chanting Krishna, before chanting, can we do some meditation in a few minutes before just directly jumping to chanting of Hare Krishna mantra? Krishna, please help me that I can chant this thing so that it will make you happy, it will please you. And that question itself is very important. The answer, okay, if you ask answers to devotees or speaker on a different things, however he is inspired within, he may answer different things, that how can, by serving devotees, by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, by distributing books, different times, different things, serving devotees. But when we ask this question, it is with the inspirations, the aspiration, the eagerness, and the sincerity that to love Sri Krishna, to please Krishna. Because behind this question, the feeling of our aspiration to serve Krishna, the eagerness, that sincerity, and that sincerity is expressed through a question. And this question is very answer to our question, because as we say that the feeling followed by willing and action. Sudha Kumar Prabhuji is saying that. So yes, that feeling and the willing will come into action. So if sometimes we might be finding artificial to say, oh, what will make Krishna happy, let me chant in the mood, okay, so Krishna, that is going to make me happy. But I want to offer my chanting to Krishna for your pleasure. I want your permission to make you happy, Krishna, and this, and whatever we need, you please make Krishna, please make that thing happen, so that I chant for your pleasure, not for my own satisfaction, or not for my own anything. We know that Savai Punsa Paro Dharma Yathar Bhakti Adoksaje Ahitukiya Pratihata Yayatma Suprasiddhati. When we start meditating, start serving Lord Sri Krishna, Yayatma Suprasiddhati, the byproduct of that, we automatically become happy. We need not to exclusively start thinking about our happiness. Our happiness lies in the service of Krishna. And this question will actually make our eagerness, our enthusiasm to serve Krishna, and that sincerity, that things is actually express this question. Now, the ideal scenarios that we meditate on Krishna's happiness. Now, when we start asking this question, the most important aspect will happen is that we are feeling to connect Krishna. And as soon as we connect to Krishna, we know that Purna Shuddha Nitya Mukta. Krishna is a Purna Shuddha. He is a Nitya Mukta. He's a completely free from all kinds of things, and he is a Purna Shuddha Nitya Mukta. He's always liberated, and that is what we always hear from Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada writes in Bhagavad Gita, if theoretically we must accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, otherwise there is no point in hearing his instruction. If he is not a Supreme Personality of Godhead, if he is not beyond the three modes of material nature, what is the point hearing from Lord Sri Krishna? So because he is the Supreme Lord, he is beyond that, his words are not affected, not afflicted by the three modes of material nature. So here we connect with Krishna, and we feel very blissful. Sadhu Sevan Prabhu saying that is our first attempt to think outside of our circle. Yes, absolutely. So now we are changing from our consciousness, my consciousness, I consciousness, mind consciousness, to Krishna consciousness. And that is why our founder Acharya, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, very intelligently named our movement as International Society for Krishna Consciousness. That Krishna consciousness is absorption in Krishna. So the question that Jiva Goswami asked, what is the most important thing? The most important thing Jiva Goswami said is the absorption, and that is why Srila Prabhupada named the moment is Krishna consciousness. We don't have to be consciousness anything else, beginning or in our journey to Krishna consciousness. Sometimes we get so much of affected because of our habits or anarthas, and then we become anartha conscious. Prabhupada has recommended all of us to become Krishna consciousness. He instructed us, he inspired us not to become anartha conscious or material consciousness, rather to become a Krishna consciousness. So in the beginning, we connect with any situation that we have, we offer our results to that. Second thing is contemplating, meditating what make Krishna happiness. And in this, the most ideal scenario is that like gopis, we are always meditating on Krishna's happiness. And we don't have to then make we are not on a sadhaka platform, then we are absolutely on the gopis platform, where spontaneously everything is for Krishna's love. Our chanting becomes glorious. Our chanting becomes a very absorption activity, service to please Lord Sri Krishna. And that is where we know the pastimes from Narad Muni. When Narad Muni was asked by Lord Sri Krishna, can you find a devotees who can actually cure my headache? And the solution is that I need their dust from their lotus feet. And Narad ji went to different things, and finally he comes to gopis and says, what do you want? Oh, this thing. And they started digging, giving all the dust that they, and Narad ji asked, are you not worried about Krishna? I mean, giving your things and offending Krishna, offenses that you are committing. They said, absolutely. As long as it makes Krishna happy, we are absolutely not worried about anything else. So the ideal is always meditate on Krishna's happiness. The second thing, that if we are not there, Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, 12th chapter, that if you are not there, then at least come to the next level. Lord always gives options. So similarly, if we are not on that platform, the second thing is that offering everything to Lord Sri Krishna. So whatever we have, that our family, our job, our money, our health, our whatever thing that our devotees that we have, that it is all offering everything to Lord Sri Krishna. Our time, our mind, our intelligence, whatever the competencies Lord Sri Krishna has given to all of us, it must be offered in the service of Krishna. And that is the second thing. So meditating, contemplating on Krishna all the time, Krishna absorption. If not, at least the second thing is that how can I offer everything to Lord Sri Krishna? And the example that we earlier discussed by one devotee Mataji's, and she even offering the bathing soap to Lord Sri Krishna. And then we can see whatever we get, we offer to Krishna. And if that is also difficult, then at least expressing our gratitude for all the gifts that we have got in our life. Like, what are the gifts that we got from Krishna? In examples, what are the gifts that we have received from our dear Lord Sri Krishna? Association of devotee, wonderful. Association of devotees, most important thing, that because why we are discussing about the absorption is important, but to even think of absorption, we need the devotees of association. Human life in Bharatvarsha, very good. This Durlabha Manushya Janma, this Manushya Janma itself is very rare. And on top of that, being born in this Bharatvarsha, absolutely everything, including our bhakti beach. Yes, absolutely. Guru Krishna Prasade Paye Bhakti Lata Beach, that the seed of devotion, all are things that we got this in this life. So when we actually think that, oh Krishna, I'm so grateful to all things, it actually again focus, rather than today what happened, somehow the other, it is the tendency of the human mind or something like that. It always focuses on what we do not have. Just like when there is a moon and there is a black spot, instead of focusing on the full bright white moon, we focuses on that white, the black spot on that moon. Just like suppose everything is going nice and some pain in some tooth, actually our focus goes there. And suppose, for example, you are driving from place A to place B in a very scenic way. There's a lot of beautiful trees, greeneries, and will not be so much focused on the highway if you are driving. But suddenly, if there is some accident or something, then immediately our attention goes there, because we are so focused. I don't know, this is a conditioning that we have. And that is where the whole advertising and the news media is actually tapping on that quality or bad quality, that we are always attracted to the something negative. In devotee association, if we are glorifying Krishna is okay, but somebody is talking about some devotees, our all both the ears are there, our whole attention is there actually. And His Grace Vaishashika Prabhu always says that wherever attention goes, the energy will actually flow in that direction. So when we express everything what we have, our family, devotee association, the most important that Srila Prabhupada presence in our life, Lord Krishna's presence in our life, all those things are a great um, uh, gift from our dear Lord Sri Krishna. And as soon as we have this such a gift, our focus again becomes thank you, Krishna, because gratitude, being grateful, but gratitude is the seed of our Lord, is the love, is the seed of our love to our dear Lord Sri Krishna. When we become grateful, we become a gratitude, our heart actually, we overwhelm the feeling of gratitude, and actually it starts next level to love that personality. And that is where when we chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, that if we focus on this, how can I become absorbed in the chanting of the name of Lord Sri Krishna? And then what we discussed today is that the first thing is connecting with Krishna. The second thing is that meditating on Krishna. And how do we do meditate on Krishna? That asking ourselves a question that how can I make Krishna happy? And then it has a three different levels of that. One is meditating on Krishna's happiness. And second thing, that if we cannot do, offer everything, whatever we have. And third thing is that at least express gratitude. And when we express our gratitude, we become automatically satisfied. Prabhupada says that if we are practicing devotees, we should be very happy, because when the one of the characteristics of bhakti in nectar of devotion is that it removes all the inauspicious things. So if we are practicing Krishna consciousness and if we are satisfied, that means that bhakti is actually growing in our life. And if we are practicing and if we are not satisfied, that means it is contrary, that is opposite to the previous conclusion or inference that we are something is not going the right direction. So all those things, absorption, now applying these things to chanting of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, because the whole discussion is about Japa talk. Japa talk means what? How can we improve our Japa? So the first thing here is that before we begin our chanting, let's begin our focus attention to Lord Sri Krishna. And then second question is that asking the second thing that we can do is asking a question to ourselves. Answer is not important, because the answer lies in the question itself. The answers can be anything, and we can pray to Lord Sri Krishna before our chanting that, oh my dear Lord Sri Krishna, please help me that I can please you. Whatever is needed to make you please grant me that, so that I can chant very attentively and in a very absorption mode. And when our chanting actually begins in a very in absorption mode, then everything we see that the whole day our is very positive way. We are vibe, the whole things, the positive vibes is there. Our actions, our thought, and our deeds are actually in a very positive way to connecting to Krishna. So the Japa is the foundation, and that Japa is a foundation. To make that Japa foundation, our goal is that the absorption in Krishna. And the absorption is not for that we become happy or we become jubilant. No, that's not the purpose. The purpose is to make Krishna happy, to make our dear Lord Krishna happy. And thinking that, asking ourselves that question, connecting with Krishna, and even a small thing that we have, offering Krishna. And third and final thing is that expressing our gratitude to our dear Lord Sri Krishna. It's a 7:51. So we'll pause here. Any questions or comments, any corrections? Chanting is a very big step for all of us, and it is a cornerstone. It is a foundation for all of us, because all our practices depend on that. So any questions or comment?
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Thank you. You always take us, very deep into the subject matter, and very systematically, very practically. And this is actually the cornerstone, being absorbed in Krishna, thinking how we can make him happy. Just recently, I was reading a book written by His Holiness Bhakti Vigyan Goswami Maharaj, and he mentions there that most of our problem lies because uh, we are almost always in bodily conception of life, thinking I and my, centered about our false ego. And he said the main reason of that is because we always keep thinking that, what will make me happy? What should I do to make myself comfortable and happy and satisfied? And what will help us to rise above this bodily conception of life? Because that is the basic thing. And he said that if we kind of transform our mindset from what will make me happy to what will make Krishna happy, that is the main thing which will help us to rise above the bodily conception of life. And as you rightly said that, wherever our attention goes, there would be, the energy will drive to that direction. And if we are absorbed in this basic thought that how my activities, how my speech, how my behavior, how my thoughts will make Krishna happy. So thank you very much, Prabhuji. Thank you. Really, really appreciate, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Yeah, just want to open if anyone has any question or any comment, you can unmute yourselves.
And fortunately or unfortunately, it's not something that we are not aware, but we are so conditioned, and by default, we just open our heart and we can see that. I can open and see that by default. And what to talk about that if nobody is around here? Oh no, okay. In front of devotees, we can actually show that, oh, so Krishna consciousness doing. But as soon as, and that's a taste for all of us, that when we are alone, of course, alone in the sense of sarvasya chaham rudhi sannishta, our dear Lord is always there. Even the dishas are also witnessing what we are doing. But in our own consciousness, we might be thinking, oh, nobody is observing me. Let me do whatever we want. And then we can see that. So, yeah. Yes, Prabhu.
So Nagaraj Prabhuji is thanking, thank you, Prabhuji. Very simple and you're very effective. So yeah. Okay, good. And Navendra Prabhu has also dropped some comment there. Hare Krishna Prabhu Dandavat Pranam, example of Mataji offering soap was so profound. Yeah, indeed.
And that Mataji, you know very well, Prabhu Sri Gaur, but I did not want to reveal Mataji's name. She is very exemplary, very great, very senior. And she is not Indian body. So probably you could have now figured it out.
Yeah. Even Sudha Mataji has also dropped a message saying, Hare Krishna Prabhu Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for your wonderful, heartfelt session. This made me remember Prabhupada's motto for always. Remembering Krishna and never forget him. Basic principle of nectar of devotion. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji, for all your practical tips. Ramesh Kumar Gupta, Prabhuji.
So if we just begin questioning ourselves that what can we make, what can make Krishna happy, as Prabhu said, and coming from His Holiness Bhakti Vigyan Goswami Maharaj also, and it's wonderful that just that question itself is answer to all things. We don't have to find the answer. What can make, of course, practically you may say this and that is fine, but just that question itself is the foundation that we connect to Krishna. And that is where, when I asked in the beginning that when we ask the question, what happens? The heart is start beating. We're getting the goosebump. Oh, my dear Lord, what can I do to please Krishna? Because Krishna is so blissful. Krishna is satisfied. Krishna is happy. And when this unsatisfied soul comes in contact with the Lord Sri Krishna, Purna Shuddha Nitya Mukta, automatically we become satisfied. And then we become a connecting to Krishna. The whole purpose is connecting to Krishna, absorption to Krishna. We don't need anything else. Everything lies connecting to Krishna. Okay, Prabhu. So if we should ask Krishna himself, what can I do for him? The generally what happens when we start practicing Krishna consciousness, and in general, we start acting like yogi. Yogi means I control my mind. I can do these things. I get the result. I can do these things. Whereas bhakti is not about controlling. Bhakti is about revealing. Krishna always reveals. Name even the Bhakta and the Devas and Surganas cannot even understand. Bhagavad Gita, 10th chapter, shloka number 3rd or 4th, Name Bhakta, Name Vidu Suragana, Name Vidu Suragana. Even the Surganas cannot understand. So when we ask this question, we are not saying that Krishna, you please tell me that. Krishna will reveal. The bhakti is all about revealing. So in yoga, things is that I will chant, I will control my mind, or I will try to do bhakti or I will try to chant Krishna's name attentively or focusedly, or in bhakti way is that Krishna, you please reveal me what you can, and Krishna will reveal according to the situation, circumstances, and that is the reciprocation. So bhakti is all about revelation. Yoga is all about controlling the Name Vidu Suragana Prabhavana Maharshe 10.2. Thank you, Prabhu, for sharing this. Not even the demigods can actually know what to talk about us. So we are far from there, and Krishna will reveal has the circumstances, and we know that Krishna is revealing. And how does he can reveal in a different ways? Paramatmas within that through other devotees, just like Srila Prabhupada, when he was actually going for distributing this Back to Godhead magazine, somebody came and said, Swamiji, why are you doing these things? Instead of that, you can have a book, print a book, because a book has a bigger shelf life, longer shelf life. Let's do that. And Prabhupada thought that, oh, this is Krishna coming in that way. So it is a revealing. So to hear that revelation, our heart should be actually open. And bhakti will make our heart open. In Bhagavad Gita, in Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 1st and chapter 2, where Sutta Goswami says that our heart is like a steel framed, and the bhakti will actually soften that heart. And when we chant Krishna's name, it actually softens. And when our heart gets softened, then we are open to receive the message from our dear Lord Sri Krishna. Yes, Sudha, our whole days goes well when Japa is focused, absolutely. Because we are connecting to Krishna. 7:59, I think if there are no questions and comments, we may pause here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. It's great, Yugala Kisora prabhuji ki jai. Thank you very much. Indebted to you.
Yes, Guru Prabhu and all the devotees, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity. And this also again helping me to refocus what is our motive is to get absorbed in Krishna and connecting with Krishna. And because when I'm speaking here, it doesn't mean that I'm there. I'm also in the same or even lower than all of you here. And I know my dear friend Sri Gaur Prabhu's he's a very exemplar, especially when it comes to his chanting, my God. So one day I may get that love that he has for chanting. So this all discussion here is just to help myself, ourselves, and individually together so that we become absorbed in chanting the name of Lord Hari, our dear Lord Sri Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam. Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Dandot
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Dandavad
Prabhuji,
Pranam.
Dandavad Pranam. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranam.